I'm going to be speaking today about the importance of corporate image to this party. It's something the party has criminally lacked for a very, very long time. We've had no succinct image which has flowed throughout all the party's publicity, locally and nationally, making the party look like a bit of a grotesque mishmash of different ideas. If you want to move to the next slide. Now, these notes will be repeated in the handbook, so you've got them there and they're also up on the screen. Now, personally, I can't think of any nationally or internationally successful firm that sells a product which doesn't do so with a corporate image. And if anyone knows one, could they please point it out? Corporate image is something that flows through an organisation. Can I have a booklet actually, because I can't read my own notes there. Has anyone got a spare booklet? Flows through the organisations. They have in effect developed a brand, and the public has a distinct awareness of that brand and different things that that brand signifies to the public. And that is something we wish to develop. The next slide, please. Now, on this slide, you see several different logos, 5 in fact. Those logos are something you'd see on the high street. And this first slide is images of what I would say successful brands. Now, we're not here to argue from a nationalist standpoint on this. Nationalist standpoints in the past on brand image have been completely wrong. And whether we see the brands on that screen as a good or bad thing, they are successful brands and they all signify something positive to the wider public. Whether they signify something positive to us in this room is irrelevant. Us in this room are a minority. We are people that have been turned on to politics. The wider public out there, as discussed earlier in Jackie's excellent talk, are people that haven't been turned on to politics and people we are trying to reach out to. And to reach out to them, we must try and see things on their level rather than on ours. Now the first, there's McDonald's, a company that many people in this room will probably despise. But to the public, that golden M instantly signifies tasty and cheap food. And whether we like it or not, surveys all over this country list McDonald's as one of the population's favourite food. The next logo we see on there is iPod. That is a completely different brand awareness. That is a very, very cool thing. When iPods first came out, celebrities were climbing over each other to be the first to be seen jogging round their area with their iPod. We. Who knows what a Wii is? Well, if any of you have got kids, you will do this Christmas because they'll all be asking for one. When these launched last year, they sold out instantly. And they've continued to sell out ever since. They've sold 14 million units worldwide in less than a year, and it'll be a second Christmas where you can't get one. That's because, to the wider public, a Wii signifies fun and accessible entertainment. It also, something can be taken from this by the BNP, because the Wii does things very differently, like we do. And I think if anyone had said, about a year ago, that a new entertainment device was going to come out where you'll all have to jump about like mad idiots in front of the TV waving your arms, no one would have believed it would have been such a success. The next image is the BMW logo. That is altogether different from anything we've seen so far. That is something that brings to the mind prestige, drivability. It is an embodiment of corporate success. The final image, the Nike swoosh, the tick. Everyone in this room must have seen that. And again, that is a symbol of sporting success. When you say trainers or sportswear, Nike must top the list of companies you would look to purchase sportswear. All of those successful brands, all of those under brand labels that have used successful logos and a corporate image. Next slide, please. Now here are some less successful brands. The first being Skoda. This is a very, very interesting brand because now it does produce rather excellent cars and has won many awards with What Car magazine for producing the best small cars and the like. However, Skoda have a reputation for producing rubbish, and that has harmed their sales. In the past, they produced rubbish cars, and now they produce rather good cars. They still have trouble selling them because there is a stigma attached to that brand. When you see the Skoda logo, there is a stigma attached to it which sets a little alarm bell ringing in your head that says, don't buy a Skoda. The next is Rover. We all know about the unfortunate demise of Rover, and it's something we're going to come back to in a second. The third and final of my unsuccessful brands I picked is Amstrad. In the 80s, if you bought a home computer, the computer to have was an Amstrad. Alan Sugar was a national hero, and the technology packed into his computers was being talked about all over the world. How many people today use an Amstrad computer? None. Because that is a brand which started producing rubbish and collapsed, and now anyone wouldn't be seen dead or even think about buying a computer with an Amstrad logo on it. I don't even believe you can anymore. The last time I saw an Amstrad logo on anything was in the post office where they were selling off Amstrad DVD players for £15 each. What a mighty fall for such a once respected brand. Now the important thing to remember here, if you move on to the next slide, is the brands that have been successful, the logos that mean something positive, the logos that have been a success in the eyes of the general public, have all done one thing. They've ensured the quality of their items. When you buy a BMW motor car, you're pretty sure that it's going to be a top-notch vehicle. You're pretty sure your neighbours are going to go, woo. You're pretty sure people will notice you driving it, and your mates at work will be envious. You're pretty sure it's going to get a reasonable mile to the gallon, it's not going to break down, and it's going to be comfortable and drivable. They have ensured the quality of the things released under what can be known as a brand umbrella. They have a brand umbrella, and under that umbrella falls all of their products. And unfortunately, under the brand umbrella, it only takes one or two poor products to taint everything that falls under that umbrella. And you might have one or two products under that umbrella which are fantastic, but a couple that are very poor will ensure that they fail too. Next slide, please. This brings me on to Rover. I said I'd come back to this, and I will. Land Rover are world-renowned for their quality. The Land Rover symbol is something both in commercial and private use which means quality. Land Rover is a prestige vehicle, beautiful, known for their design, their reliability, their drivability and their comfort. How many celebrities and footballers have a top-of-the-range Land Rover and are seen driving around Chelsea every weekend in it? That's because they're a success. On the other hand, you had Rover, which was seen as less of a success. The cars didn't sell well, they were marketed poorly. They were marketed, unfortunately, between the likes of the Ford Mondeo on one hand and the 3 Series on the other hand, and they didn't sell because there wasn't a marketplace between the two, unfortunately. Now, they both fall under the same umbrella because they were both produced by Rover. And although one was a great success, that too was dragged under by the failure of another poor performing or number of poor performing products underneath that umbrella. Next slide. Now, so far, I hope none of you are wondering where I'm going with this. Are any of you wondering where I'm going with this? No, that's good. We've got a switched on group today.